Imagine being a young player, right? And Melo gets pissed at you, bro.
I just don't think he has it anymore.
Should any team want Carmelo Anthony?
Blasphemous.
That's
Yes,
Yes, sir, Carmelo.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Control the Narrative, a podcast where we control the narrative that the media creates. If you're new around here, subscribe to catch our weekly podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And if you're a returner, a subscriber, or better yet, a Control the Narrative member, like this fine gentleman is joining me today, we appreciate you, as always, the members a little bit more. Want to get into this 95th episode pretty quickly. Christmas just came and went. New Year's is coming up. We're recording this on Tuesday the 28th, so Lakers are playing in T-minus 45 minutes in Houston. So we want to get this podcast out before the game goes, and I know this guy and I can talk for quite some time about Melo, just like every other guest on here. So with that being said, I want to welcome to the show Kev. Kev, my guy, how you feeling, bro?
How you doing, Steve, man? Appreciate you having me back.
Good, bro. Just saying before we started recording, the fucking Lakered out in that baseball jersey. Fire as shit, man. This guy has some of the coolest Melo toys and Melo just clothing collection. I've seen some cool ones, and Kev, you're definitely up there for sure, bro.
Trust me, none of it wouldn't be anything without you, trust me. Before you, I was just a simple guy with a couple pairs of Melo shoes. I had a Denver jersey, and I had a Knicks jersey, and I had a couple little posters or whatever, but now, yeah, man.
Respect. And to add to that collection, he just got a signed Melo Knicks jersey that he won on Christmas Day. Randomly, we did it on Instagram, and we picked a name from our Discord, and it's sent out. It should get there, I don't know, next few days or some shit. But congrats for that, Kev. And, as soon as he won that, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, another excuse just to get you on, because it's kind of been a minute anyway. So congrats on that, bro.
No, man, I honestly was not expecting it. I know I signed up like at the last second, and it was just, I was just on a roll Sunday, man.
Yeah.
Christmas was a good day, man, and I appreciate you for even putting something out there. You didn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? You could have put anything out, a sweatshirt or a T-shirt, and people still would have clicked on it the same exact way, man, and I appreciate you for that, man.
Of course, bro. Anytime. Let's get into this Lakers. This just team has been really up and down. We can't really get a pulse on whether they're a contender, whether they're a lottery team. And, on that topic, COVID has been hitting the NBA like crazy. Every single team, it feels like, has multiple players out, coaches out from COVID just spreading. And for me, like, you watch some of these games and you're like, damn, all right, well, how much does a win over this team mean when their best players aren't playing? Or like, you missed, 2 of your 4 best players. Does it matter that you lost? So my question to you is, how meaningful are these games that we've been watching, considering the fact that on every team, Lakers included, there's so many players and coaches just not there?
The perfect example is Christmas night, right? We all saw what happened. James Harden and a bunch of plumbers came in, and they knocked off. Of course, the Lakers are missing a few pieces too. But if you have Russell Westbrook, Mr. Triple-Double, and you have LeBron James, the King, and you still have Melo, and you still have just by those 3 alone, you should not lose to James Harden, who just came back, not in condition, probably not in full condition, and with Patty Mills, a cast-off from San Antonio, a bench player for most of his career. I'm not saying he's not nice, but he was a bench player.
Right.
All of them, everybody on that starting 5, besides James Harden, who just came back out of condition, was a bench player. And the Lakers were not even really competitive until Russell Westbrook came out the game. And it's true, man. It really is true. And I knew Monk was going to have a good game, and I picked him on all my DraftKings tickets. But they should not have. When I see the Lakers, dude, everybody's dealing with the same thing. They're dealing with the injuries. They're dealing with the COVID. But the Lakers, not saying they should blow every team out, but they're losing to the teams they should not lose to. They cannot lose to. And there's no excuse to lose to the OKC Thunder twice. There's no excuse to lose to, whatever other teams they lost to during that stretch. Whether there's no LeBron, you have 3 superstars on your team. Whether they're all in severity of decline, but you still have if you count Melo, really 4 superstars really still on your team.
Yep.
And leaders, people that have led their own teams, and Dwight Howard, he led his own team. And you have these players, and you shouldn't be struggling with a team full of rookies and backups, and you just shouldn't be doing it. You should be winning those games by 10, and you should be competitive with the Brooklyns, and you should be competitive whether you're losing them or winning them with just any average team. The Lakers have yet to even beat a team. I think that is a playoff contender yet, man. Like maybe early in the season, if I can't really remember, but it's just like every single night they're losing to the teams. And I pay attention because I play DraftKings every night. I watch all the games, as many games as I can. I'm following on this, and I don't understand it, dude. It's because, like we were just talking about, Russell Westbrook, and can't blame everything on him, but when you're player that's going up and down, and these players are older, the Lakers are older, you know what I'm saying? And they don't want to be running up and down, chasing these fast breaks and getting posterized because of turnovers and all this other stuff. And he's going up there and he's just losing the ball, or he's leaving his man, he's doing all this other stuff. And the Lakers, you see, as soon as he came out, dude, the old Melo came back. LeBron was there, man, and everybody was making plays. Nobody was turning the ball over. They were on this big run. And I'm not saying it's just because of Westbrook, but the Lakers don't need somebody out of control. You know what I'm saying? The Lakers, like I said, we were talking about, the Lakers are that guy that nickel and dimes on Madden all day long, throwing safe passes, running the ball, waiting, and he's going to score. It might take him 15 plays to score, but he's going to score. And then he's going to play, play defense enough to make you make more mistakes than him. And that's where LeBron's at in his career. That's how LeBron has to win. You know what I'm saying? He has to have more positive plays than you. And Russell Westbrook is just putting them behind, and they're getting frustrated, and they're just letting people go on defense, and it's bleeding into everything else on the team.
So what I'm hearing is you think that no matter how many players are off the Lakers because of COVID or coaches or whatever, that even a guy like Westbrook should be picking up the slack.
Exactly, dude. How can you lose why is everybody else responding? Why is Brooklyn responding? It's either the coaching, or it's Westbrook, or it's not coaching Westbrook. It's nobody's coaching Westbrook. Yeah. I saw the other day they said they were going to talk to THT. It was an article. They were going to talk to THT about his decision making. And that's true. He does need to be talked to, but who needs to be talked to more? The guy that leads the league in turnovers. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, he's a nice guy, and maybe people are just, and I've never been a Westbrook hater. I've never really even paid attention. The only time I ever paid attention to the dude was in OKC that one year, and I just thought that whole team was put together horrible. The Lakers shouldn't have any excuses with COVID, and they shouldn't have any excuses with injuries, because they haven't been missing all their players at the same time, all their stars. Every other team is one star right now in COVID, and a bunch of backups. The Lakers are talented.
And going back to the Christmas Day game for a second, the Nets are also missing Kyrie, obviously.
Yeah.
So 2 of their big three is out, and there was a bunch of G Leaguers with James Harden and Patty Mills, and the Lakers still, for the most part, got smoked until Westbrook went to the bench and LeBron came on the court, and Melo was already on the court. And they went on, what was it, like a 17-0 run or some shit like that in the middle of the fourth, late fourth. So I agree with you, man. I think, obviously, we're watching – the Lakers without certain players and other teams without certain players. But at the end of the day, everyone is fucking dealing with this shit. It's not like it's just the Lakers issue where, damn, the injury bug got him. And, like, you look at AD, of course, he's out, and it's a big loss because that's one of the guys they play through the most. And, you said it, defensively, obviously huge for the team. So you look at stuff like that. But I agree. I just think it doesn't matter as long as you have fucking 2 of those guys on the court. LeBron and Melo, Russ and Melo, LeBron and Russ. I don't care. The rest of the team isn't supposed to be that bad where you can't beat the Spurs, where you can't beat the Thunder. I'm looking at their game log right now, where you can't beat the Kings. Shit like that shouldn't be happening.
Kings, yeah.
And you look at it, and when you look at this Christmas Day game, a lot of the players on the Nets are hungry. Like, they're trying hard. They're like, oh, shit, I need to go hard and show them that I deserve a second 10-day or just whatever the deal is. And you don't really see that on the Lakers. There's certain players that go hard, like Austin Reeves goes hard. Like, certain players really play well when it seems like the pressure's on them. But it just feels like sometimes they're comfortable. Like, Westbrook is comfortable. Like, THT is comfortable. Like, LeBron is comfortable in a lot of the games. And again, they just haven't been able to find that switch to flip. And we've been saying this every week. But at the end of the day, going back to the question of how meaningful are these games, obviously they're fucking meaningful, where at the end of the year, when the Lakers are 2 games away from the 4 seed and instead they're in the 7 seed or whatever the deal is, we're going to look back at a lot of these games, the Kings game, the Nets game, and be like, yo, this is a game they should have fucking won. And decision-making and hustle and all of these things is the reason that now they're in this play-in instead of at the 4 seed with home court or just whatever the case is, I think.
Yeah, the Brooklyn game, man, you just, like you said, once they took Westbrook out, you saw how easy these vets made basketball look, right? Yeah. But when he's in there, look, it's just painful. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't get to the bucket sometimes and get some dunks, and like I said, everybody's dealing with the injuries and stuff like that, but it's just a painful offense to watch most of the time. But the other night, it looked fun. It was fun, looking fun, and they made it look easy because they're vets, and that's what they're supposed to do, is make it look easy.
All right, let me ask you a follow-up question on this, actually. I wasn't planning on asking this, but yo, real quick, sorry to interrupt if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, but just wanted to let you know that we have merch at CTRL the Narrative, and it's pretty fire, in my opinion. This is the Pixel Melo t-shirt that I'm rocking. Anything from Cuse Melo to New York Melo, Hoodie Melo. On this shirt, we got Scapegoat merch, we got Blackball merch, we got just regular Control merch. Shop CTRL the Narrative.com. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, beanies, stickers. Shop CTRL the Narrative.com. I think I got my point across. Go check it out. I bet you'll find something you like. Appreciate the support as well. Obviously, the merch sales help us fund these podcast episodes that we get to record every single week. So appreciate you. And back to the show. Now that we're talking about it, do you think that when a team is on a run like the Lakers were on, 17-0, and one of their main guys, one of their closers, their finishers is on the bench, do you feel like coaches should just go with the hot hand and be like, all right, these 5 are on fire, I'm going to let them keep going until the game is over? Or do you feel like, nah, fuck it, like they had their run and we just got to bring back this?
And I know you were just sitting there watching that game the same way I was, like, where the hell is Melo? For that, he should be in this game. And I was like, about to, it was already like, I was just mad. I was mad because I always take Melo on all my DraftKings tickets, and I was mad about it. But then Reeves, he had earned it. He had hustled for it, and he earned it, and he hit the game winner. And I always feel like you can't sit all your starters in the clutch, but you can start at least 1 or 2 people that have earned it and have them in down the stretch. Whoever earned that. And that's one thing we hated with Portland. Was Stotts was so stringent with his rotations that no matter how good Melo did, he was never in there in the last 5 minutes. No matter how good he did during that game, they would always pull him for Robert Covington or
Rocco, yeah,
Hollis Jefferson, or whoever else it was, and they didn't learn how to play a hot hand. And Vogel, he played it with Reeves that night, and Reeves ended up hitting that game winner, and that's how they should do it. Melo's doing great. Even if he's not the starter, he should be on the court at the end. Melo should be on the court at the end of the game regardless, man.
100%.
I don't care what you say, dude is the most clutch dude, one of the most clutch players in the fourth quarter, even the last 2 seasons. And he should always be on the court. But again, he gets frustrated just like everybody else gets frustrated with the turnovers and the lack of defense. And why should he go out there and sacrifice his old ass body for these dudes that don't give a damn?
Yeah, fair. Speaking of kind of Melo and his performance in terms of in the fourth and just during the whole game, the Lakers have lost 5 in a row. And in every one of those games, Melo's plus minus. And this question goes out to Daryl Morey, a big fuck you to Morey with plus minus really isn't an advanced stat or like an analytical thing. Obviously, it's kind of, but it's not as bad as some of them. Melo's plus minus has been pretty good over the last 5 games, even though they've lost every single game. Why do you think that is? Like, what have you seen from Melo? Is it his scoring, like what he does on defense, his passing? Just like what have you seen that, in your opinion, justifies Melo's pretty good plus minus when they've been losing every fucking game?
Well, first off, don't be ashamed to use plus minus because they were using it against us for years.
Exactly.
So it's only right that we turn around and when it's good,
Of course,
to use it against them, you know.
Of course.
And Melo just needs to stop worrying about everybody else. Of course, he has to defer to LeBron, right? It's LeBron's team, dude, and he, even at this age, LeBron's just a little bit still much better than Melo is right now physically, you know. But I'll never forget a quote from Rondo one time, and they were like, "Why you shoot so many threes?" He's like, "Man, I'm not even a good 3-point shooter, but I see all these other dudes that ain't good 3-point shooters just jack them up. So why the fuck can't I? Or
Yeah.
why can't I?" And I think Melo has that same mentality, but his plus minus right now is because obviously there's no AD, right? AD hogs at least 40% of the offense when he's on the court. He touches the ball all the time. Without AD, Melo touches the ball a little bit more. He's scared to pass the ball sometimes because he knows he'll never see it again. You know, right? So he has to sometimes, you know, try to force a shot instead of just, you know, give it a go and, you know, get it back, reset. He's never going to get a reset. Never going to get a reset once he gives the ball up. But it's also the defense because, again, I play DraftKings, so I follow each and every single stat, every rebound, every assist, every, you know, turnover, all of it. And Melo has a great basketball IQ, like the highest. Like, and he's just, you know, he's still a young dude, and he still has the skills. He's trapped in an older body now, but he can still make the great plays. Like that defense we saw on the Christmas night was the most inspiring defense I've ever seen Melo play since last year in the playoffs against Jokic, you know, and even more so. He was literally blocking shots left and right. It was crazy. It was just crazy to watch. And I love and I love to see him engaged. And when he's engaged on offense, he's engaged on defense.
Exactly.
You know, when the team's not turning the ball over, he's ready to set up. You know, he can't be chasing people down, man. Like this dude's, you know, it takes hard enough for him to get down to the 3-point line and get his shot off. You know, he can't. He's just, like I said, he's a team leader, man. He has a high basketball IQ. I did see somebody point out the longer Melo is in the game, the more he'll make a boneheaded play sometimes. Like he'll foul a 3-point shooter with no time left on the clock, you know, at halftime and, you know, from the half court and different things like that, or the free throw. But also, I don't know, man. Melo is a leader, and we saw the article earlier that the LeBron gave him a lot of credit for bringing the team together and forcing them to have pride. You know, Melo's not there to win them a championship. Melo's there to help the team win a championship. You know what I'm saying? He's just there. He's just a piece, but he has a voice, and he needs to be in there for defense. And like I said, he doesn't make the mistakes. There you go. He doesn't make the mistakes that other players make. He may have one turnover, maybe 2 a game, or maybe 0. Most of the times he has 0. But he doesn't make the stupid mistakes that other people, THT makes, Westbrook makes. And so when he's on the court, the team plays much better. LeBron trusts him more, and he's just able to, you know, like I said, the team plays better with Melo on the court. And there's every statistic, we see it all day on Twitter, how their offense is, you know, way up there when Melo's on the court, and it's literally the worst offense in the world when he's not on the court. And that's bad, that you need this old dude to save your offense like that.
Yeah. And I think the one thing you said that kind of hit the nail on the head, in my opinion, for this is like, we could talk about how, you know, he's unfortunately not the team leader in 3-point percentage anymore, but it's like 0.04% behind Bradley right now. Right. But he is an underrated leader defensively. And when people talk about his defense, you know, all they look at is one-on-one. Can you stop somebody? And that's not necessarily the case. Like, especially over these last week or two with no AD, he has been playing the 4 or the 5 with LeBron. They've been kind of going really, really small. So Melo's usually down by the rim, guarding somebody like Claxton on the Nets or a big like that. And he's extremely vocal, which is absolutely huge on defense because and I'm not saying this is why his plus minus has been crazy, but just like overall his leadership skills and on the defensive end, like that's one of the examples of it where he calls out screens. He, just does a lot of different things like, yo, watch your back, or like, cutter coming through it, or just whatever the case is defensively. That I'm not gonna say Anthony Davis didn't do. Anthony Davis is an amazing one-on-one defender, but Melo's leadership on defense, his leadership on offense, when little things where if he's at the elbow at the 3-point line and there's a guy in the corner and the guy in the corner is too close to him, like you'll see in the games, he'll be like, yo, move down to give LeBron more spacing, whatever. So like people don't really fucking see those things. But when Melo is in a position to be able to do that, and he's been more in a position to do that with no AD, I think that makes a huge difference. And, you can look at his facilitating. I think he's facilitated pretty well when he's had the ball, especially that Christmas Day game. Like, we all get pissed off at him for passing the ball because, like you said, he gets rid of it and then he won't see it again for that possession, guaranteed. So I think it's just kind of a mix of a lot of things. I think it's just a mix of a lot of things, and I just think that the leadership skill and the defense and all that is underrated. Like, we can sit here and talk Melo's numbers all day, but the things that we know and see watching the games, a lot of people don't. So
Melo might not be physically able to chase the younger dudes down anymore by the 3-point line, or get out there and help defense sometimes. But like you said, we saw it in Portland. Most people didn't watch those games, but when even in the playoffs when they were playing Denver, the only player they had that slowed down Jokic was Melo. Not because he was more talented or anything like that, but because he wanted it and he plays hard. You know what I'm saying? He gets a lot of knock for his years in Denver and New York for a lack of defense, but he also carried those teams offensively, and you have to save your energy on defense. You still want to get out and get it, but not everybody could be Kobe or Michael, and so. Yeah,
great point with the Jokic shit. I tried erasing that playoff series out of my mind when Dame put up 50-something, and then they lost game 5, and I was like, shit's a wrap.
Remember, my biggest knock on Melo that time was that he was just as nervous as anybody else not to mess up Dame's game, that he knew, like, as a person that has those games before himself, he didn't want to take a shot and miss it and mess up Dame's chance of winning that game that he was excelling in it. And I remember he was wide open and he kind of faked it and then just passed it back to Dame instead of, he would have shot the ball, maybe he would have went in. And
he dribbled it off his foot one possession late in the game. Like, I've never seen an entire team that nervous before in my life.
That was crazy.
Never seen that before.
But and at the same time, you never seen another player besides all the way back to Kobe hitting multiple game winners in one game, multiple game, clutch shots in one game. That was one of the crazier games I've ever seen.
Wild shit, man. Wild shit. All right, last interruption, because if you're watching or listening to the podcast for this long, you probably fuck with us. And if you fuck with us, you'll probably fuck with all the perks that you get from being a Control the Narrative member, whether that's access to our invite-only Discord where we're talking basketball all the time, or opportunities to join the next episode of Control. So whenever we need a guest, I go in our Discord, I say, yo, who's free? Who wants to hop on the next episode? And I pick from there. You get 20% off merch forever, and then you also get member-exclusive merch, all by being a member. Tiers start at $2 a month. So if you fuck with us, go check out a membership, CTRLthenarrative.com, and I will see you in the Discord. All right, back to the show for good. Another thing that I wanted to bring up, because I think it's funny, and then also wanted to get your opinion on it because what you just told me before we started recording, and we'll get into it in a second, but Melo's leading the league also in technical fouls, which I thought was pretty funny. And, he's sort of becoming this old school veteran enforcer of the Lakers where, you look back at the Pistons game and when they had that big fight with Isaiah Stewart and LeBron where Melo was standing by the bench and be like, yo, he's not coming over here. He's not coming over here. And Corey Joseph comes over. He's like, what the hell are you doing over here? So he's kind of becoming this enforcer on the Lakers, which I think is so funny. What is your thoughts on that? Or I guess, do you agree that he's become that old school veteran enforcer? And Do you think it's anything like what Rasheed Wallace was in New York that 2012-2013 season? Because that's what came to my mind when I'm like, holy shit, Melo's becoming like Sheed.
Yeah, that is no knock on Melo or Sheed. That is actually a compliment.
At all? No, not at all.
Yeah, no, definitely. That is a compliment. We were talking about is that it was funny that you had the question because before I knew who you were, it was like 2 years ago, when he first went to Portland, he had a game where, he got a technical or something and you had posted about it. And I was like, yeah, he really reminds me of Rasheed Wallace in New York, in later years in New York. And you were like, yeah. And I love to see it. I do love to see it because I was a big Rasheed Wallace fan, not a North Carolina fan, but Rasheed Wallace, like on the Knicks and wherever else he was in Portland and stuff. And I love to see Enforcer Melo. It's been one of my favorite Melos, and it's just like in hockey, man. You need that enforcer. You need that veteran that will go out there and take the flack for the younger dudes or the stars. And you have to protect your star. You have to protect LeBron. You have to protect Westbrook and from himself mostly. But but here's the problem. There's one problem with it. Besides ruining my DraftKings money, I was in first place when he got ejected that night with he wasn't my captain on that ticket, but he was up there. He was having a decent game. And but without AD and without a healthy full team, they need his offense too much for what he's being paid, how old he is, and for a team that is supposed to have a lot of other players to pick up the slack. They're relying on him too much to even keep him in games that they can't even win.
Yep.
And for him right now with AD, and he plays back up to AD and Braun, he can't afford to get out the game. After he left that game, I forgot who it even was. Was it the Spurs? No. Where did he get ejected? A couple games ago.
Phoenix?
Was it Phoenix?
Maybe not. Or the Spurs. Phoenix or the Spurs?
One of them. But he got ejected, and they ended up just getting blown out after that. Like after he was gone, man. So right now, like I said, for me personally as a Melo fan, you love to see it. He pushed Claxton in the other game, and but the team needs him. Unfortunately, the team needs him too much for him to be getting ejected from games. First off, but just the one tech. He should have known better for the second tech.
For sure. He
should have definitely known better for the second tech. And maybe they teched him up too easily or too quickly. Who knows how it really went down. But the team needs him too much for him to get ejected, let's just say. To set the tone, that's what they need. If it gets him one tech, that's cool. But after that, you got to kind of tone it down a little bit. The team needs you too much.
And also, I'm pretty sure the NBA is still doing that thing where if you get 16, you get suspended a game, right?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
So that's also something to keep in mind. I don't know exactly how many he has. I just know he's leading the league. And also, when he got ejected, that was versus Phoenix. That was when Jay Crowder hit him in the side when he was shooting that three.
That's right.
And then he turned around and yelled at the ref. But
yeah,
I wanted to bring this up mainly because I think it's funny where remember Rasheed literally got ejected as a Knick for screaming "Ball don't lie." And you've heard on the mics on the backboard Melo say that multiple times this year. He is sticking up for his teammates like he's kind of always done. But I just think it's funny that, this guy who we've been watching for so many years is out there now as like the veteran. And it really hit me when I heard the stat that Melo is the third oldest player in the league.
After Haslam
and Iguodala.
Okay, yeah.
And then Melo, like, for whatever reason, that clicked in my brain where I was just like,
but he's still been in the league before both of them, right?
Iguodala,
he came out as a freshman, and they were both Haslam. I forgot where he went, but wasn't they might have came out more like later in college.
Iguodala was 04 draft, and I think Haslam was 03. No,
was Haslam? I don't think anybody's left from the 03 draft.
Haslam was 02. 02.
Yeah. Oh, so okay. But you remember actually Haslam, he finally got into a game last year, and he hadn't played in a single minute all year. He got in the game and got ejected within 1 minute.
Yeah. I remember that. That's some Melo shit, man. That's some Melo shit. These old heads are like, fucking go out there and just start screaming at the fucking refs. They've had enough dealing with these refs for all these fucking years.
Yeah.
But
if you think that for you to see here and be impressed, imagine being a young player, right? And Melo gets pissed at you, bro. Like, imagine that. That's like if Kobe got pissed at you, bro. Like, but imagine like the dude, like one of the coolest basketball players to ever play the game, one of the icons, and you come into the league like poor Corey Joseph.
What the hell you over here?
Yeah, he's like, what the hell are you doing over here? Or even like Claxton or anybody is. Like, but like I said, Melo, even in Portland, like a lot of people don't. He's getting all the media coverage now because he's in LA and all that stuff. But we watched him all the time in Portland, and he was the same way, man. He pushed Jokic during the game. I thought that was a little unnecessary, but he was kind of trying to set the tone.
No, he took his fucking number. That's never
unnecessary. Yeah, exactly. Took his number, fucking dude. But Melo, like I said, man, he's not as fast as he once was. But he got a couple dunks the other night, man. That was pretty good. But he has to play his role, man. And his role right now is to help do what the other guys can't do. You know what I'm saying? Westbrook's not gonna fight nobody. LeBron's definitely not gonna fight nobody. We saw it.
We saw that.
Like step in and fight Isaiah Stewart. I have no doubt in my mind Melo would take the suspension.
Yeah.
If he had to do it. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, he's not a bad dude, but he also knows that he has a role on this team. Just like Rasheed Wallace had, man. Rasheed Wallace is no longer a star, but to Knicks fans, he was everything. To the Knicks fans that watch that game, just like, the Lakers fans that really see Melo out there trying and grinding and everything like that, it means everything. Not the casuals who just see highlights on Twitter or anything like that, but the people actually watching the games, the fans.
Yeah. Great point, bro. Last question. Like a 2-minute answer. What's your level of panic from 1 through 10 for this Lakers team on December 28th, 2021?
Depends on if they're willing to trade Westbrook. Because again, I've never been a Westbrook hater. Never really paid attention to the dude. I always thought averaging a triple-double was incredible, and I never really understood the hate he got. And I just thought he just went out there and tried really hard. And, he was great in all aspects of the game. And, so what he had a few turnovers, everybody has their flaws. But actually watching him again with Melo for the second time in Melo's career, I understand that either he needs to come off the bench, they need to trade him, or somebody has to really sit down, whether maybe Jeannie Buss, she has to sit down herself and tell this dude, listen, stop making passes that aren't there to run up assists. Stop leaving your man to roam the paint to hunt for rebounds, and stop just jacking up every goddamn thing to get to 10 points. And that's exactly it. When you say manufactured triple-double, that's what you're seeing. They're not natural triple-doubles. They're manufactured triple-doubles, which are killing the team. So that's what I'm looking at. And like I said, man, it's the only explanation. This team is too talented not to make basketball look easy. They have they got Showtime quality players. Rondo would be better at the point. He can't be any worse defensively. Can't be any worse offensively. Even Reeves at the point. Just make the simple play. Let LeBron do it, the crazy stuff, and let the other players do it. Just make the simple play. Bring the ball up the court, and penetrate and dish. That's what you need to do.
I didn't hear a number from you, and I need that before we leave.
What's that?
I need a number from 1 through 10. How much?
The number 1 through 10. I would like to say 5.
5?
My panic right now is 5 because they have a chance to change their season around if they make some adjustments.
Yeah,
they can change it around in a heartbeat. And within a month they could be playing just as good as anybody else. So I'm gonna just leave it at a 5. If they keep going the way they're going right now, they're not going to win any series. They're not going to win a series.
I'm going to up it a little. I'm going to say 8.
Oh, goddamn.
I just think, and this isn't even, the past 2 weeks. This is the entire season. Like, even when they were healthy and they had all 4 guys playing, they were taking time to gel. And now with AD out a few more weeks, and now with all this COVID shit happening, now with Westbrook getting more of an opportunity and not really figuring it out still. I've said this before, like, what has to happen for this team? Like, what can happen for this team to turn around and be like, all right, cool. Like, what realistically, like, is trading Westbrook realistic? I don't really know. Just because his contract is so crazy, is benching a $40 million player realistic? I don't really know. Is Anthony Davis suddenly, coming back and being as hungry as he was 2 years ago realistic? I don't know. So I just don't see something realistically that I can look at and be like, all right, well, if this one thing happens, like, they'll be okay. I just don't see that, and it's scary.
But before the season, you didn't want him to come to the Lakers, but for totally different reasons. Your reasons were that they were going to be a good team, but Melo was going to hopefully be a marginal player, forced into a marginal, just stand around and shoot the ball. And at the very beginning of the season, that's exactly what happened. Very beginning, and Melo was making them all. But now, what was I what the hell was I saying?
The beginning of the season, Melo was standing around hitting the shot.
Yeah. Beginning of the season, that's right. You thought that's what the reason he shouldn't come to the Lakers, but now it's turning into something totally different. Now he's a major piece of the Lakers, except they suck. You know what I'm saying? And it's totally different whether, like I said, injuries or COVID or Westbrook or whatever it is. For whatever reason, Melo is wasting another year. He's getting his statistics up and into the record books and everything he needs to do. But for right now, he's just this year. This is not going to end with a championship. I can't see that happening at all. You can't be wild without anybody, then you're not going to win any against a full team come playoffs. So
it's not even New Year's yet, and we're sitting here saying this isn't going to end in a championship.
Yeah, like I said, what if Westbrook gets injured? Not wishing it on him, but wouldn't that solve a lot of things? Because they already have like 5 point guards on the team, in several states of COVID or whatever.
Yeah.
It is. But what if he just has to leave for some reason? That would solve a lot of problems.
Hey man, not wishing injury upon anybody, obviously.
No, I would never wish injury. I would never wish injury. It's not that important to me.
Of course.
Yeah.
But when he has been out and like out as in off the court, you look at the type of team they are and you're like,
yeah,
they're a good team. They just went on a 17-0 run against the Nets in their last game. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't think right now there's a solution for this team. Maybe it's at the trade deadline. Who knows? Like, there are solutions, but I just don't know how realistic they are. So that's the only thing I'm like, fuck, I feel like I've seen enough to be like, I just don't know if the pieces fit together. I don't know if this team is hungry enough. I don't know if they can move the players that they need to move. And I just don't know. And you're right, man. In the beginning of the year, like, I was like, this is bullshit. If they win a ring, like, Melo's going to be sitting in the corner, shooting threes and like not be a big part of the team. And that, like you said, that's what he was doing in the beginning, except they were going down. Lately, they haven't been going down as much. And he's also, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, I'm sure yours too, being underutilized. So it's like, if shit's not going well and they're still not utilizing him, like, what the fuck do they have to lose? They have absolutely nothing to lose by being like, yo, let's put the ball in one of the greatest offensive players of all time's hands. Let's just see what happens. Like, just fucking try it. And if it doesn't work, it can't get any worse than right now. So that's where I'm like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I just feel like with Melo, he's they treat him the way he gets paid.
Yeah, 100%.
And if it wasn't for LeBron on the team, just like Dame was on the team last year, he probably wouldn't even get half the opportunities he's getting.
100%. Same shit with THT. I say that every week. Same shit with THT. That I feel like the only reason he's getting all this burn and these shot attempts, everything, is because fucking paying him $30 million over the next 3 years. Like, they have to get their money's worth. Like, they can't bench somebody. They can't keep someone on the bench who they're paying $10 million to. Like, anyway. Yo, Kev. We come to the end of this podcast, but before we let you go, as you know, we allow our guests to control a narrative. It doesn't have to be Melo related. It doesn't have to be basketball related. It doesn't have to be sports related. So before I let you go, I'm going to give you the floor and control a narrative if you have one.
All right. I'm just going to say the same one. And like I said, we put a lot of thought into it. We talked about it before, is that people think, they look at older players and I always look at the same three. They're Melo, LeBron, and Chris Paul. They're the last of the the three of them, they're the last of the dying breed. And Melo is just as good as what he does, as he always has been, as they are at theirs. The only difference is Chris Paul's a point guard and the ball's always in his hands. So he's able to make those veteran decisions, not as fast as he used to be, maybe not as, but he's able to make great decisions because he's a veteran. He's an all-time great Hall of Famer veteran that has the ball in his hands all the time and good things happen. Same thing with LeBron. He's always been a force of nature, going to the hole, or he can also shoot the ball. He's still doing that as great as he is now, averaging all these points. That he always has the ball in his hands. If he gets caught on the defense, he could get the ball up and get it right back and reset against somebody else and take advantage of those opportunities. Melo has to take the scraps, bro. Melo has to take, whatever they give him, and like I said, I always feel like he should have that same Rondo mentality where, let me just go do me. But again, he doesn't want to, just like he didn't want to mess up Dame's lifetime game, out of respect. He's also not going to come in and do what THT and all these other dudes are doing that don't deserve to do and jack the ball up 100 times a game. That's not who he is. He has more respect for his teammates. He has more respect for LeBron. And he has more respect for the game to do that. He could do it. What are they going to do? Trade him? What are they going to do? Sit him?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But Melo has more respect than those dudes, and all he needs is the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? If Melo got to touch the ball every time, just like AD got to touch the ball down the thing, he could be putting up 25, 26, 30 points a game, on 50% shooting. But he's never going to get that opportunity. So Melo can still be that guy. Just put the ball in his hands. And good things like that. And
I just looked back to when the last time we had you on. It was 8 months ago.
Whoa, that's a long time.
Pretty wild that the same narrative stands true.
Yeah, and I think about it all the time, dude. And we talk about it even on Twitter or whatever it is, and Melo just needs the ball. If he wanted to, he could have went to the Thunder. He could have went to the damn Magic. Yeah, he could have went to the Magic, and he could have been that Eric Gordon over there, still putting up 25 a game and whatever else. But he chose to go help LeBron, and try to get a ring himself at the same time, because he had a respect and mutual respect. And why not? Why the hell not, right? You can always go back to New York later.
We're seeing why now, because fucking Westbrook. So
yeah. Like I said, man, it could still turn around. We'll just give it some time. We'll just enjoy Melo for the few more years he's playing, and we'll continue to bitch about his playing time. We'll continue to bitch about everything.
That's never going to stop.
If it was up to us, man, he'd be shooting ball more than LeBron. So,
Yo, Kev, I appreciate you taking some time out tonight, bro. Appreciate you being a member. Also, obviously, I hit you up kind of last minute, so it means a lot that you were just like, yo, what time? I'm there. So, appreciate you, bro.
I wasn't doing anything else, man. Hey, take care. Happy New Year.
Likewise, bro.
Melo, and just keep doing you, man. Appreciate everything you do, bro.
Of course, man. Appreciate the support. Stay mellow, baby.
There you go, man.